Right, time to take a look at what's making headlines here in France. And for that, I'm joined by Alison Sargent. Good morning, Alison.
Good morning, Richelle.
We're starting with French President Emmanuel Macron's latest trip abroad. He's headed off to India today.
He is, Richelle, a trip to strengthen ties, as all trips abroad are, and also to make some business deals. The French president is hoping. Le Figaro calls India new land to conquer for Emmanuel Macron, and you can see him there meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Paris. That was last year. And following that trip, actually, India bought a few dozen of France's Rafale fighter planes, one of France's best sellers abroad, it has to be said. And Le Figaro writes that Macron is really hoping that he's going to buy some more over the weekend on this trip. It's not just about military deals, though. France is also hoping to score some transportation deals. Libération has reports that many Indian cities are looking to develop trams and metro systems as a safer form of travel and as a way of dealing with traffic. And while France is hoping to get in on some of that development, to develop tramway and railway systems in India. I have to say, though, the trip is not all business. That he's also going to be meeting with a group of young people to talk about education in New Delhi. And he's going to be going on a romantic tour of the Taj Mahal with his wife, Brigitte.
Ooh la la.
Yeah.
Okay, well, another burning question about this trip is, what is President Macron going to wear? A burning question for all those fashion-conscious political watchers out there. Will we see Brigitte in a sari?
Right, Richelle, I wish I had an answer for you. I actually don't, but it is something to keep an eye on. According to Le Parisien, aujourd'hui en France, there's a saying in France that the habit doesn't make the monk, but the paper says that, well, abroad, the clothes very much do make the president, and you can see some good pictures there from previous presidential trips. We have Macron in a typical Burkinabe hat when he was back in Burkina Faso last year. François Hollande there in his furry hat in Kazakhstan, and Canadian Prime Minister up in the top corner. Justin Trudeau in India last month. His traditional, in quotes, traditional outfit actually sparked ridicule in India for being tacky and over the top. Basically, people said he looked like a wannabe Bollywood star. So hopefully Macron will read Le Parisien today and will not be making that same mistake this weekend.
I'm sure he won't put a fashion foot wrong. Now, Emmanuel Macron's environment minister, meanwhile, he's on the front page of Le Figaro today.
That's right. Nicolas Hulot, a former TV presenter, environmentalist, and now minister, he's given an interview to Le Figaro. He's affirming his commitment to cutting back France's reliance on nuclear energy. As it is now, actually, about 72% of France's energy comes from nuclear energy, so quite a huge chunk. Nicolas Hulot says he wants to cut that down to 50%. The timeline, though, for when that's going to get cut down is pretty fluid. He says 2025 is not realistic, so probably, after that, but he does say he wants to do it as fast as possible. It's worth noting also that while France is fighting to reduce its nuclear energy reliance at home, well, they're not so adverse to developing it abroad because France's national energy company, EDF, is actually hoping, while they're Macron's in India this weekend, that they're going to get a deal to build some new nuclear reactors in India.
Indeed. Well, nuclear energy is a very controversial topic here in France. Meanwhile, a controversial figure is on the front page of the Libération newspaper. Islamic studies scholar Tarik Ramadan. Tell us more about that.
Right, Tarik Ramadan, you might remember, has been accused of sexual assault by 3 women here in France, claims he denies, and he's being held in prison on these charges while they're being examined. Libération is reporting today, actually, that a 4th case has been reported, this time in the United States. The paper says that this case is much like the others. The assault happened in a hotel room where the scholar was staying while giving a conference. The woman in question is a cultural consultant for the American Defense Department who actually contacted Ramadan by Facebook, and then they decided to meet up. Ramadan has denied this latest accusation as well as all of the others.
Okay. Well, moving on to another front page story today. France's Communist Party is hoping to take on internet giants.
Right. France's Communist Party is holding a big forum today and tomorrow devoted to reining in the power of internet companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon. This story is on the front page of the communist paper, L'Humanité, today. The party is inviting the public to their headquarters this weekend to meet professors, researchers, programmers, and brainstorm ways to, as they say, de-Google the internet.
Okay, well, another big forum taking place in Paris this weekend. Something a little more fun, a little lighter. The annual Tattoo Festival.
So, Richelle, it's lighter, it's more fun, but It's also revolutionary, I guess you could say, although not nearly as much as it used to be. That's according to Le Figaro. They say, tattoos used to be kind of a symbol of resistance. Well, now they're really just decorative, and they've become the norm. Actually, a quarter of all people under 35 have a tattoo. Do you have a tattoo?
I do.
Richelle, is that okay?
Yes, I do. That's
50% of the people in this room. Well, you fit right in then, I guess, with a quarter of all the French people under 35 who have a tattoo. Living statistic. Le Figaro suggests that there is a correlation actually also between tattoos and what field you work in. They say 33% of self-employed people have tattoos, so artists, singers, but maybe also journalists. 25% of
singer,
blue
so
collar,
I fit into that.
Right. 25% of blue-collar workers have tattoos, but that number actually drops quite a bit to only 13% of those in management positions. I don't know if these statistics help. It might just reinforce people's stereotypes about people with tattoos. But to fight that, you can take a look at this graphic and you can see that through the ages, actually, a number of people in very high positions of power did have tattoos. On the right there, we see Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Then we see the Tsar Peter the Great. And finally, Winston Churchill, who it turns out had an anchor tattooed on his left arm. It turns out also Franklin Roosevelt, maybe was he a sailor? Turns out also Franklin Roosevelt and Joseph Stalin. I know Richelle has the exact same tattoo.
Yes, I'm in good company with Winston Churchill.
You're in good company.
Wow.
So many famous leaders throughout history had tattoos. Richelle, you need to run for president.
Maybe I'm going to become a famous leader. Well, we'll see about that. Alison, thank you very much for that. Alison Sargent there with the French Press Review. Well, stay with us here on France 24. Lots more news coming up. Plus, in today's Focus Report, in Colombia, the former FARC rebel group is now a political party and fielding candidates in the upcoming parliamentary elections. But it's not easy to enter the political arena with the country still healing from more than half a century of civil war.